Welcome to this Forge College Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're tuning in today. So, in our last lesson, we explored the fascinating, if maybe a little bit abstract world of security models for authorization. Well, today we're taking those theoretical blueprints and building something tangible. We are literally getting our hands dirty with applying access control strategies in smart contracts. It's time to take all that theory and use it to build a rock-solid, concrete smart contract exemplar. Basically, we're building the ultimate digital VIP club. Let's get into it. Here's our quick roadmap for this explainer. We're going to hit access control in action, building the guest list, modifiers as security gates, the role lifecycle, stress testing your contract, and we'll wrap it all up with our core security takeaways. All right, let's dive right into the blueprint and figure out how we're going to build the doors and hire the bouncers for this highly secure VIP club of ours. Section 1. Access control in action, from theory to code. This is where we take the totally abstract idea of a role-based decision flow and turn it into actual, literal lens of Solidity code to protect your contract's entry points. No more hypotheticals, you guys. This is where the rubber meets the road. When you break down the core mechanics sketched out here on this patent paper design, they're actually incredibly simple. The roles mapping you see right at the top, that's our guest list. The only operator modifier sitting in the middle, that's the bouncer checking IDs at the door. And those grant or revoke functions at the bottom, those make up the club manager's toolkit. It really is that straightforward to translate a security policy into executable code. Section 2, building the guest list, the roles mapping. Let's move over to our very first component and see how this builds our foundation by organizing exactly who is allowed inside. I mean, you can't have a VIP area if you don't have a reliable way to identify who the VIPs actually are, right? So the crucial thing here is understanding exactly how we store this list on the blockchain. Take a look at this definition of mapping storage. You can think of this nested mapping as a highly efficient, almost mechanical filing cabinet that instantly answers one very specific question. Is this address on the VIP list for this specific role? It's like pulling open a drawer labeled operator, finding the folder with the user's address, and boom. It's either a true, meaning they're in, or a false, meaning they're out on the street. Section 3, modifiers as security gates. Meet the bouncer. Okay, so now that we have a neatly organized guest list, we need someone, or, well, something, standing firmly at the door to enforce it. Let's talk about the concept of entry point enforcement. Remember our deep dive into security models in the last lesson? Well, here it is in action. By placing our enforcement right at the external entry point, we drastically simplify our security reasoning. Why? Because unauthorized callers are blocked before they even step a single foot inside the contract. They don't get to interact with the DJ. They definitely don't get to visit the bar. The door just stays firmly shut right at the threshold. And here's exactly what that bouncer looks like in Solidity code, the only operator modifier. Notice our bouncer's favorite catchphrase printed right there in the require statement. If you aren't on the list, meaning if that mapping we just talked about doesn't return a true, the transaction immediately reverts. And it spits out the rather polite but incredibly firm message that the caller is not an operator. Goodbye. See you later. Section 4. The role lifecycle. The manager's duties. As you know, a club is really only as secure as its management. So let's look at how we safely grant and eventually revoke these highly powerful roles over time. Let's map this out and see how it builds a complete timeline. This flowchart represents the entire lifecycle of our access control. It starts at step 1, with the constructor cleverly assigning the initial operator role to whoever deploys the contract, basically the original club owner. From there, the owner can grant roles to new users, allowing them to execute protected actions. And, crucially, they can revoke that role when it's time to take those privileges away. Honestly, if you look at the wider learning programs and courses across Forge College, you're going to see this exact life cycle pattern repeated in virtually every robust Web3 protocol. It is totally foundational. But management absolutely cannot happen in secret. As you'll discover across so many of the security courses at Forge College, emitting clear role-granted and role-revoked events when roles change is absolutely critical. It creates a transparent, auditable paper trail. It's literally like logging every single time the bouncer stamps a hand or confiscates a VIP pass. On the blockchain, visibility is everything, and these events provide that permanent, unalterable ledger. Section 5, stress testing your contract, pushing on the gates. Listen, it's not enough to just build the bouncer. We actually have to put on a disguise, maybe slap on a fake mustache, and try to sneak past them using hard hat unit tests to ensure they actually do their job. Here we have the two sides of our testing coin. On the left, we've got the positive test. This proves that the deployer, who definitely has the correct role, can successfully execute an action and get that action executed result. But on the right, we have the negative test. This is where an unauthorized account tries the exact same thing and gets unceremoniously rejected, throwing that exact revert error we saw earlier. Make no mistake, both tests are equally vital to the health of your contract. So, before we can officially stamp this blueprint as approved, your local environment needs to tick off every single one of these acceptance checks sketched out here to prove the mechanics actually work. Think of it like the exciting final countdown right before a rocket launch. The contract absolutely must compile cleanly, the initial events have to be visible on deployment, and both your negative and positive tests must pass with flying colors. It's your ultimate quality assurance checklist. Section 6. Core Security Takeaways. The Final Inspection. Let's take a step back, maybe put down our orange and green pens for a second, and review the overarching lessons from our minimal exemplar here and look at the broader implications for your smart contracts. Consider this, because it's arguably the single most critical realization of this entire explainer. Revoking a role isn't just flipping a Boolean to false. It fundamentally changes the security assumptions of any pending transactions that trusted that user. Seriously, think about it. If you fire the club manager, what happens to the drink orders they literally just placed? You have to design your systems anticipating these lifecycle shifts and weird edge cases. Which leaves us with one final provocative thought. How do we safely scale these entry point patterns for massive systems that require multi-admin roles and complex cross-contract checks? I mean, what happens when our single VIP club becomes a global interconnected franchise? Well, that question sets the exact stage for our next lesson on the principles of access control. So I highly encourage you to bring your new, successfully tested artifact over to forge.college and continue exploring our advanced Web3 security topics with us. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep pushing on those gates, and I will see you next time.